Hey there, Susie here. Today's episode of the Content Sales podcast is brought to you by the 2024 Business Growth Summit for Women Entrepreneurs. This is an opportunity to get free access to world-class speakers, best-selling authors, and inspiring entrepreneurs, all focused on helping you grow your business this year. Tickets are valued at over $1,000, but you can get your free ticket today at herbusinesssummit.com. We've included some fantastic bonuses, so grab your spot today. herbusinesssummit.com. Hi, you're listening to the Content Sales Podcast, a show all about how to create content to attract, convert, and keep your ideal clients. Welcome to episode 230. I'm Susie Daphnis, and here with me is my co-host, Michelle Falson. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hey, Susie, I am doing really well, and I am looking forward to having a good old chin wag with you today, my friend.
I, too, am looking forward to a chin wag. And in today's show, we are chin wagging about a mantra that's making a big difference with our students and clients when it comes to having a marketing breakthrough. And so we decided that we wanted to share this breakthrough with our listeners far and wide.
Right. And the idea for this show, actually, it really sprung up out of a conversation, Susie, that you and I had with two women business owners in our mastermind who were contemplating a big marketing shift. They were really looking for a big marketing breakthrough. And we had this conversation. We were like, holy cow, this is something that is a real thing, makes a real difference.
It's a real thing. So we were talking with these two female clients and we got thinking, oh, this needs to be a podcast episode. And this conversation was happening inside of a mastermind strategy session. So twice a year, the women in our Marketing Success Mastermind get a deep dive strategy session with me and Michelle. And on this particular session, we were helping these two women who are business partners, we were helping them navigate a big decision they were making. It was a big marketing breakthrough. Now, sometimes our breakthroughs can come from doing something new, introducing something new through our marketing, and sometimes it can be stopping doing something that creates the breakthrough. And sometimes it's both. We have to stop one thing so that we can do another. And that change can be really daunting. And whether you're delving into new territory with your marketing and content, or you're turning off a part of your business to focus on another, or you're launching or closing down a product or offer, this simple 3-word mantra that we're going to share with you today could be a really powerful tool. And in the case of the conversation that Michelle was referring to, our two masterminders were looking to close, to stop, to turn off a rather large part of their business, one of the offers that they had been making for a while. Now, why would we help them turn off a part of the business that had accounted for a good chunk of their revenue in the past? Well, here's what was happening. During the few months prior, as part of what they were learning at the mastermind about being more strategic and looking at parts of the business that weren't aligned with their goals, that were keeping them in the weeds, that weren't giving them good return on investment, they realized that they had a particularly labor-intensive part of their business which needed to go, so that they could capitalize on a specific part of the business that was starting to take off, but they hadn't yet had enough time and energy to focus on that new area because their focus was split across these other parts of the business. And this is something that was so obvious when we looked at it, but it's kind of one of those things that can be hiding inside of our businesses too.
And it can be so hard to let go of something you've worked on and that you see ticking money into your bank account, right? If you've been listening to this show for a while, you'll know one of the things that Susie and I have been talking about for years is thinking about what you sell in terms of marketing mountains. So just a really quick update if you're not sure what we're meaning by this. If you sell a $500 online course, that's one of your mountains. If you also have a $97 a month membership, that's another mountain. And if you also have a 6-month coaching program, you guessed it, that's another separate mountain. And by mapping out each marketing mountain you have, you can very quickly and clearly see when you've got too many mountains or when your mountains aren't really part of a cohesive mountain range. That is, you've got this one weird mountain over to the side that's attracting people that you can't sell anything else to, or that's really labor intensive, or that's taking your attention away from another more profitable mountain. You get this bird's eye view of your business. And sometimes, actually quite often, what happens when people do this exercise is they discover they actually need to explode at least one of those mountains, just get it off the mountain range. And we've actually got an entire episode we recorded recently on this specific topic when to know it's time to stop offering a product or service in your business. And if that's something you need help thinking through, I highly recommend checking out that episode as kind of a sister show to today's show. And we'll put a link in the show notes for today to get you directly into that episode. But it's episode 224, so it was only a few episodes ago. And it's called Exploding Mountains, When to Stop Offering a Product or Service.
And that's exactly what our mastermind clients decided to do. They decided to explode one of their mountains. And it can be hard to do, right? Especially if the sales, as Michelle said, they're still coming in, tick, tick, ticking. You know, you see that revenue in the business. Or if that's what you feel comfortable selling, or it still counts for a chunk of your revenue, even though you might not know that it's really not good for you, it's not good for the overall health and direction of your business. So I totally get it that you might think about this idea with a little bit of trepidation. And it's not just exploding the mountain. There can be other things that we know are going to be good for our business, whether it's letting something go or starting something new. It can be easy to get partway down the track and then back down, reverting back to our old ways, where maybe you're second guessing yourself, or it feels too scary to move forward, or maybe you've lost your nerve and you've gotten fearful. And we've all been there. We've all felt that and done that at various times. And it was during this strategy session that a little phrase with a big impact got shared, and it was the thing that made the difference for them. They were able to hold onto this idea, really grab onto it, and have it with them, have this mantra with them when they were feeling uncomfortable, when they were second guessing themselves, when they saw a sale come through that mountain that they were about to get rid of, and they started to worry about turning that income source off.
Gosh, I mean, I'm thinking everybody can relate to what you're saying. So, you know, we can think, yeah, this is the right decision, and then we're like, oh, should I be doing this decision? No, it's the right decision. Oh, don't know if I should do it. And we kind of oscillate back and forth. And you know, speaking about that simple 3-word phrase, I find this happens a lot. We need to give ourselves little mantras or catchy ideas or themes to hold on to guide us through a tricky or challenging process. Sometimes for you, it might be an affirmation or a quote or a key idea that we can just hold on to. It's hard to hold on to all the things, but one sticky idea can get us through a tough time. And I do this all the time to hack my own psychology. And I've seen the power of doing this for others as well. It's something I work on with my clients, really deliberately doing, finding the mantra that I feel they might need right now to get through the change, the breakthrough that they're wanting to make. And I have a client right now, and we came up with a sticky idea, a little mantra for her. And it's been a game changer for her. She's using it kind of like that, a talisman, as she goes about making some big changes in her business. So it's ideal if that mantra really crystallizes what it is you're working on. It really gets to the heart of the matter, so that when the going gets tough, you don't have to go back to some complex idea that's hard to grab onto when you're stressed. Instead, you go back to this simple, I got so excited, I banged the desk. You go back to a simple, powerful, clear, and compelling message that can keep guiding you. So in this case, the case that really inspired today's show, the phrase was 3 simple words. And the phrase was, hold your nerve. 3 words. Hold your nerve. In fact, I added a 4th word just to make it a bit funny and a bit memorable. Hold your nerve. So just rhyming there, and rhyming or any fun thing can also make an idea stickier. So it's like, hey, if you're second guessing yourself, if you're really like backing off the idea that you know is the right idea, you just say, hey, hold your nerve, Merv. And while that might sound silly, making it a bit fun or a bit quirky, it actually does help make that idea really stick. In fact, we covered this idea of sticky ideas in our book recommendation this year. The book was Made to Stick by Chip and Dan Heath. Oh, my goodness, I love this book. And Susie, I know you do too. We highly recommend you read that book if you haven't already. And this idea of this 3-word mantra, hold your nerve, it really was an idea that stuck. And it might be an idea you can use as well when you're navigating big or tricky decisions, if you need to stop or start something, and in particular, if you're looking for a marketing breakthrough.
I love that. And as you said, it kind of makes it a little bit funny. And I know that those 2 women, they were using that and they were kind of laughing as they were holding their nerve. So good. So just to get a little more serious, because we often make decisions in a moment of clarity and strategic insight that are good for our business, but then we can backslide to what we've always done or what feels comfortable and what feels less risky. But that just keeps us where we are. So maybe you can adopt this hold your nerve, Merv mantra to help you stay true to a tough decision that you've made in your business. Because here's what I know. Often the difference between being able to create big positive changes in your business or not comes down to how well you can handle a relatively short period of discomfort. Now, that might be a few weeks between when you decide to do something and when you let your team know, or the month or so between when you decide to stop selling a specific service and when you actually take it off your website, or the few months you might need to put up with the messiness of restructuring your team. And you're doing that as you get ready to make a big up level in your business. And that's when you need to draw on this mantra, hold your nerve. If you're second guessing yourself, go back to the reason you're making the decision in the first place and say to yourself, hold your nerve, Merv.
Hold your nerve, Merv. I love that because, as you say, it's often really, I love what you said there. It comes down to finding the way to navigate a few key moments of discomfort or self-doubt that makes all the difference when we're making a big change or when we're on the verge of a big breakthrough. It really does come down to that ability to just hold our nerve, stay in that discomfort, hold the tension and walk through it. And that's exactly what our masterminders told us after our strategy session with them. They actually wrote that phrase, hold your nerve, Merv, on their whiteboard. So they were looking at it every day. And as business partners, it was great to have that succinct shorthand piece of shared language as well. And whether it's business partners or team, trusted peers, your life partner, other team members or leadership team, getting that shared language is so powerful. Whether it's about holding your nerve or about anything, shared language is so powerful. But when it's specifically about collectively holding your nerve, collectively not backsliding, oh my goodness, you can achieve anything with your team, with your business. Because guess what? When one person backslides, what's the other person going to say with that shared language? They're going to say, hey, hold your nerve. Remember? We knew we were going to feel this discomfort. So one can back the other one up, and you can say it to support each other in moments of doubt and to help each other really to get through.
Mm. And this can happen sometimes with some of the things we talk about here on the show. I know certainly inside the Her Business network, we're probably going to hear this phrase as women support each other to stay on track with the decision they made, even when, oh, look, another sale of that thing came through, or maybe people do still want that, and you start to get a little shaky. So I'm looking forward to this infiltrating our vernacular inside of Her Business. And while this phrase only came up in our recent strategy session, this concept of holding your nerve when it really counts is, of course, something that's been a key part of many different success stories throughout human history, whether that's related to achievements in business or sports or politics or academia or really any aspect of human endeavor. And about thinking about some times that I've had to hold my nerve, like when we decided to sell our business. We used to have an events business. We had it for 13 years, and it had been our everything. It was our baby. We grew it. It created a lot of wealth for us, but we were done, and it was really time to stop. And when we decided to sell it, there was a long time between when we decided to sell it and had started to make arrangements with the buyer and then needed to transition our dear beloved team to new ownership and also let some people go because the new business owners didn't need them. It was so hard. It was so hard to hold our nerve, but we knew that we had to make those changes for the sake of the business continuing, for our own well-being and health and happiness. But it was really, really hard for a long time. And then last year inside of Her Business, we reimagined our ideal client, and we decided that our sweet spot, the women that we could help most, were women who were generating more than $100,000 in revenue and who wanted to grow their team and themselves and their business. What this meant was we risked losing members who were interested in networking or learning, but not so much in growth and team and leadership and up-leveling their businesses and their revenues. And we are now just a few months away from that. And sure, there have been women who say, well, I miss what you used to do. And there are some women for whom this higher level focus on growth is not right for where they are, but we are holding our nerve that we're going to attract more of the right clients, women who are growing and scaling their businesses, who do see the value in being part of a community where you get the right advice, where you have accountability, where you have regular check-ins, where there is education, where there is high-level networking, that we'll find those women as we continue to focus on this niche of women that we're excited to serve. But Michelle, it is taking some hold your nerve moments as we start to navigate this big change.
Yeah. And the more successfully you can hold your nerve, the easier it gets to hold your nerve. Like it's kind of like a muscle we work and we get stronger at. And I love what you did there, because you really talked about holding your nerve with something you were stopping doing, selling the business and letting go of team. And then you also talked about holding your nerve with something you were starting doing, which was, a really clear shift in your ideal client. You were moving towards a strategy that was for a very specific someone. And, if you're listening right now, your marketing breakthrough that you might need to hold your nerve on might be getting in front of the camera to get on Facebook Lives. Your thing that you might be needing to hold your nerve around might be launching your first group program. Maybe you're a one-to-one expert right now and you're like, I really want to leverage my time and I want to have a course and take all this expertise I have, or I really want to launch a membership. Holding your nerve as you navigate the inevitable challenges and missteps and delays and just being more seen or anything like that comes with a breakthrough. This is just a really, really important idea. And you might find your own mantra, but hey, you can borrow ours and hold your nerve. And I can certainly relate. Like, I really loved hearing your personal experience around that, Susie, and I've certainly had some big moments in my life where I've had to hold my nerve. And one such time I'm thinking of right now was a big situation where I actually had to stand up to an entire company board. And I've got to say, it was all men and they were all like the accountant types. And I really could have used that phrase, hold your nerve, then. But as I look back on it, I really did hold my nerve and got through the discomfort. And that turned out to be a pivotal moment for me. It meant letting go of something, but it also meant gaining something that was much more important to me. And I find it all the time in big and small ways. One of the most powerful places that the hold your nerve mantra can help you is when you're negotiating. Yeah. So I was doing a negotiation with that board, but it can be when you are mentioning your price. How many people just say the price and they cannot hold their nerve for those few seconds for that price to land. They quickly try and, but we could offer you a discount, or, just say the price and shush, hold your nerve and let that price just land. That's a way you can hold your nerve and have a marketing breakthrough. Negotiating a percentage of the deal or your fee. All of these things are places where you at some point have to hold your nerve, say the price, say the percentage you want. Maybe it's around contracts, team hires, suppliers, media, legals, creative ideas. There are so many areas where this is a really powerful mantra for you.
Oh, absolutely. And even, you're trying a new marketing strategy, you're putting something out there, you're not sure if it's going to work, and you think, I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing. No, hold your nerve. These things take cycles, they take iterations, they can take, like we were talking with someone earlier today for a podcast we have coming up, but, 9.5 years later, the business is like thriving. But they had to hold their nerve. Anyway, you'll hear about that when you hear that episode, which is coming up, I think, in the next episode or the one after that. So this is really about backing yourself and doing it at important moments, like the ones Michelle just mentioned, at turning points in your business in particular. And what I found, this is a skill that you can get better at with practice. It's like, as Michelle said earlier, it's like strengthening a muscle. The more you build the muscle around holding your nerve, the more you can hold your nerve. It's a type of grit. And what you can flow from that is bolder decisions that will help your business grow and help you grow as a business owner. And that's something I've been passionate about for decades. In fact, at her business, we have 8 growth zones. These are 8 areas of business that you need to work on to grow your business. And any successful business has these 8 areas, these 8 growth areas working for them. And they're things like marketing marketing and technology and people and systems and money. And one of our growth zones, something that I think is the most important of the growth zones, is the you growth zone. How are you showing up as a business owner? And whenever you start thinking bigger, stepping more and more into your potential, pursuing your bold dream, you're inevitably going to step into areas where you might feel out of your depth or stressed, or where others may question you. Like, are you sure you want to stop selling that product? Are you sure you want to make that big change? Are you sure you want to make that big hire? Do you really think now is the time to open that new store? Or you've never done anything like this before. Do you think you can manage it? That's when Michelle and I are hoping that this simple mantra might enter your head. Hold your nerve, stay strong, get through the moments of discomfort, whether they be a few days, a few weeks, or sometimes months or years. So stay true to your intuition, your goal, your vision for what it is that you're creating in your business. And if you're listening to this show and you're thinking, yeah, this growth zone, this you growth zone is an area I would like to do more work on, then come and join us inside the Her Business Network if you're not already a member. And you can do that by heading over to herbusinessnetwork.com and joining. And you can also dive into a few of our more recent podcasts that are along this line, along this you growth zone. So we're going to put some links to those inside of those the show notes that I'll be giving you the details for in just a moment.
I agree with you about the you growth zone being so key. It transcends all the other growth zones. It reminds me of a great mindfulness book from a wonderful author, Jon Kabat-Zinn. And the book title, book title has never left me. The book title is this: wherever you go, there you are.
I love it.
Isn't it great? Like, you can think it's the marketing, you can think it's the economy, you can think but like there's one consistent common denominator in all the situations, and it's us, it's me. And so it's like that in business. Wherever you go in all the growth zones, there you are. Working with the team, there you are as well. Handling money, there you are. Asking for the sale, there you are. Pricing your latest service, hey, there you are. Our mindset has such a big part to play in the level set of our business, just exactly how high we can price something, how big we can grow our business, how much impact we can have, what reach we can have on our podcast. And I really do believe that anytime we can invest in ourselves as business owners, it's a great investment. I mean, in each year, my own personal and professional development is one of the biggest, in fact, it is the biggest line item in my business. And Susie, I know you've invested in your own education and personal and professional development, so you can hold your nerve as well, right, in a big way for decades.
Yeah, and I really truly believe that you are your best investment. And I know every year I invest in books and courses, the mastermind that I belong to, that I travel to the US for 3 times a year. And I've done that for all the years in my business. And as a woman growing and scaling your business, you need and want a place to ask questions, to get trusted answers, and not random answers from people who don't get it, or people who will blow off your big ideas or don't understand what you're doing in business. You want to be in conversation with women who've been where you are and successfully reached the next level and are willing to have these honest conversations about, hey, you know what, we've got to back each other up and hold our nerve. And you want answers from women who are scaling their businesses, if that's something that you want to do, if you're looking to go from 6 to 7 figures or 7 to 8 figures, and you want that support of women holding their nerve alongside you, while simultaneously, running businesses and family commitments and all those things. But it's not easy, but it can be done, and it can be done successfully, as we're seeing every single day with the women inside our incredible Her Business community.
Oh my gosh, it's been inspirational, Susie, seeing your commitment to enlarging your own sense of what's possible, and then lifting others up in what they consider possible. That's the ripple effect, I think, of holding your nerve. When we do it, we inspire others to do the same. And it might be people on our team, but it could just be a colleague who sees you, or a peer, or a relative, or a child. My kids are late teens, early 20s now, and like, I'm hoping that me holding my nerve helps them to do that, right? And like we said, doing new things, saying goodbye to old things, breaking through finding new level sets in our business. That's never easy, no matter how long you've been in business. But what does get easier, if you become conscious of it and practice it, and that's where a mantra can help, is holding your nerve during those times of discomfort. And Susie, I read this great quote from Amelia Earhart, who was an incredible person who knew how to hold her nerve, right? And it was about change. And I think it's really relevant to what we're talking about today. And it goes like this. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. The fears are paper tigers. You can do anything you decide to do. And I just love that. I've found that myself. When I can hold my nerve in times of change or stress, those fears that seem so big and so overwhelming and so disastrous, they very often do turn into paper tigers. Once we make the decision, the rest is, as Amelia Earhart said, tenacity. And this phrase, hold your nerve, Merv, can be a way for you to access your own personal storehouse of tenacity. It certainly worked for our masterminders. They've since made that change, and they are absolutely stepping into their potential in their business. And you can too. You can make the hard decisions.
I love that. And just to pick up on something that you just said, or rather that Amelia Earhart said, you can do anything you decide to do. Know that you've got a cheerleader in me and Michelle, and find ways to put yourself in environments where you have people around you who believe you can do anything that you decide to do, who help you hold your nerve, who can be the voice of encouragement when you're second guessing yourself. And that, Michelle, is why I'm such a big fan of our accountability groups, our advisory groups inside of the network, because here's women helping each other to hold their nerve when they're making big decisions, and providing environments where business owners can hold their nerve together is something I've been passionate about for almost 3 decades. And I've seen the powerful transformation that finding this kind of support and these sorts of support systems can really provide. And, to what you were saying earlier, you've always got you, because wherever you go, there you are. And remember, when you've made a decision, whenever you make those big decisions, hold your nerve. That is our 3-word mantra. We mentioned a bunch of ideas throughout today's show, and I want to give you the link to get access to those additional supporting episodes. We've put that across on our show notes, and I'll give you the link to that in just a moment. But first, I want to say how much we love doing this show. Do we not, Michelle? We love doing this show.
We love it. We do actually love it. It crystallizes a lot of stuff for us as well, things for students and clients. We go, there's a podcast in that, just like this one. And then this show gives us the reason to go deep on it.
Yeah, and we do. We really love doing this show for you. And so we love it anytime we hear from you, whether that's a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, whether you reach out to us on the Content Sells podcast page inside of Facebook. The show now has over 100 5-star reviews. So I want to thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, if you would do us a favor and leave us a rating or review, we would absolutely love that. One of our regular listeners is the lovely Michelle Pascoe from Oops. She was listening to episode 214, which was a few episodes ago now. It was called The Hybrid Expert Revolution with Ryan Levesque. And she said, absolutely love this episode. Both of you asked some great questions and Ryan unpacked it perfectly. So that's episode 214. Highly recommend that you take a listen. Ryan is an, exemplar as a business owner, as a thinker, as an online marketer. And he talked in that episode about this idea of the hybrid expert. So you can get links to that and to all the things we mentioned here on the show over at herbusiness.com/hold your nerve, or one word, herbusiness.com/hold your nerve. Now, we have a very timely episode in the next episode. Michelle, you want to give us the lowdown?
I sure do. So you may or may not be aware that there are big changes coming with regard to email deliverability and how you are authenticating your emails, what's ensuring your email makes it into somebody's inbox. It is not going to be the way it used to be. All the best practices that have kind of been recommended are now becoming compulsory, and we're seeing this across most of the email platforms, in particular the big three, we've got email, Yahoo, Microsoft, they're all making these changes. If you want to get your emails in the inbox of the people that are on your email list, you want to be paying attention to our next episode. We have a very special guest coming. She really knows her stuff. She demystifies it. She makes it super clear, super easy, super doable, and it is really imperative you get across this. This is an episode I highly recommend you get onto as soon as it comes out, because these changes are imminent.
I'm very excited for that episode. And if you don't already subscribe to the show, just hit subscribe wherever you're listening so that you get that episode as soon as it becomes available. And we're releasing episodes every 2 weeks. So that is coming up 2 weeks from the release of this one. Michelle, anything you want to say before we go?
Susie, I have to do it. I've just got 3 words. Will you say it with me?
Not 3 words in a cover and another word?
Oh, all right. We've got 4 words. Okay. Say it with me. You ready?
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Hold your nerve. What dags? For our American listeners, look it up. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time right here on the Content Sells podcast. Bye for now.